All right, pre-show shenanigans. There's no other thing to talk about than the most debated thing in all of Twitter over the past 24 hours. So we're actually recording this. We are recording these right before we drop them, boys. It is Monday afternoon, 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We didn't pre-record, guys. So shout out, like, you guys are welcome.
Shout out to
No
us.
vacations, no
No
vacations.
vacations. No.
But over the past 24 hours, the biggest debate in all of Twitter, Anthony Bass, relief pitcher for the Blue Jays, tweeted a very controversial take, which has gotten people, not only in the sports community, but just anyone who comes across his tweet, just needs to interact with it. So, Everett, Anthony Bass tweeted out, quote, "The flight attendant at United," added them too, kind of nice, "just made my 22-week pregnant wife traveling with a 5-year-old and 2-year-old get on her hands and knees to pick up the popcorn mess made by my youngest daughter. Are you kidding me?" So okay, first things first, the man, I mean, it's not like he was hiding from this, but he did incriminate his daughter here. He specifically said the mess made by my daughter, so threw his daughter under the bus, under the rug completely.
Just straight under the bus.
Just completely threw under the bus. But second things, Everett, let's make this very clear. You and I, we hate United. We despise United. Let's get that out of the way right now. When I was first reading this, I was kind of like even more on board with it before reading the whole thing. Like, ooh, we're going after United. Hell yeah.
Like,
I love this shit.
Let's go.
But United is in the right here. They're not wrong, Everett. And
no,
obviously,
they're not, actually.
We aren't parents. We don't have kids. We don't know what it's like to, have a kid and have to look after them, more so clean up after their fucking messes. But if this was me, Everett, and I was that 5-year-old spilling popcorn not only into the aisle, but also into the legroom of the seat behind the kid. So the guy sitting behind them, whoever that was, I am so sorry. They're getting
just hit by waves of popcorn.
Just raining popcorn. It is raining kernels. But if that was me and I was spilling food into the aisle and to the person behind me, my parents would force me to go pick that shit up, arguably force me to eat it off the ground to ensure I never do it again. I would have had to pick that shit up if that was me.
Yeah.
If I was the 5-year-old.
You want to know what my favorite part of all this, though, is? Not only is he complaining now that the stewardesses aren't helping pick up the popcorn or doing it themselves like they're janitors, which they're not.
Yeah.
He's complaining about them making his pregnant wife, who's 22 weeks pregnant, to pick it up. So what was dude doing? Dude standing there just tweeting this out, watching his pregnant wife pick up all this stuff? Very important development that I did not bring up when we first talked about this a couple hours ago. It has been confirmed that Anthony Bass, the man who tweeted this, was not on this plane. Oh, he was not on the plane. Okay.
But that brings up another question. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that the mother, the pregnant mom, was the one who took that picture. I'm going to guess. But if you look at the picture, you see those two kids are like sitting in a row to themselves. That middle seat is empty, which made me think that the mom was sitting there and it was Anthony Bass who took this picture. But part of me is thinking that these two little kids had a whole row to themselves also on top of it.
Things are,
and that makes them even more spoiled, makes them come across as like even more entitled here.
Yeah, things are not looking too hot right now.
So I was gonna say, like, if Anthony Bass, if the Toronto pitcher was on that plane, then he should have picked up that whole mess.
He should have. I understand. Like, I'm getting upset if your wife's pregnant, all this stuff, right? But
I get
it. But you might want to, maybe teach your kids not to throw shit everywhere on a
and
public
just make a
transportation
mess everywhere. Like
that
is in the window seat and there's like popcorn in the seats. If that was me, I'd still be mortified that my kid's that big of a fucking slob. but it's better than going into the fucking aisle and in the leg room of the seat behind.
I also I was taught as a kid to pick up my messes too. If I'm gonna make a mess, like if that's the choice I made, I'm the one picking it up.
Everybody was raised like that. I hope. Well, apparently,
we'll
clearly
find
not.
Out.
But
I just like at a minimum, okay. I get the kids are younger, but if your wife's pregnant too, like the kids can pick it up. You don't need to force the stewardess to pick it up. People around you probably would be willing to help, or they're probably just pissed off because you probably made a scene
not willing to help. If I'm assuming that, like, I'm gonna go on a limb and say this, like, the mother or whoever like saw their kids making a mess and was like, "This is okay.
This is fine." Yeah, but also like on top of that, if this was me as a kid,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm coming back to. That was us.
If that was me as a child, not only am I getting like just hauled, like pulled by the ear off the airplane,
100%.
I am losing my electronic because they didn't have TVs on the plane.
Well, remember, we didn't have iPads then. All these kids are iPad.
We didn't have iPads. There were no TVs on the plane, so you had that big sit down like DVD player that you had to like pop open.
Yeah. Oh my god, memory unlocked. Holy shit.
That's gone. That's gone. My Thomas the Train toys gone. Like whatever if I was
Pokemon Pearl on my DS Lite,
gone. Game Boy, gone. I'm sitting there twiddling my thumbs for 3 hours, however long that flight is. God forbid it's like a 5-hour, 18-hour flight. Oh, I'm not doing anything besides sitting there and watching out the window, if I even got window privileges.
Wait, okay, you actually just brought up a really good point that now I think of. Let's say you are the person behind that kid, okay? Or actually, no. Let's say you're sitting right in front of that kid. Would you rather that kid be a slob spilling all over? And I know it's the seat ahead, but literally his popcorn spills over into your legroom. Or would you rather have a combo of a 5-year-old and 2-year-old crying and kicking your seat because they don't have their electronics? Let's embrace debate. What would you rather have? A slobby ass kid who is shut his mouth silent. He is so deep into what's that?
Well, here's the thing.
He's so deep into it.
Here's the thing. In today's day and age, if kids are being destructed enough where they're crying and screaming and stuff, I have seen it happen before where people will get kicked off the plane for that.
Oh wow, I've actually never seen that. But
and it was on a United flight too. I wasn't on the flight, but it was like in the newspapers and stuff. So I honestly take their shit away, teach some life lessons here. If they're crying and whining about it, and you're a parent, you get to deal with that. I might be pissed off, but I guarantee you, if you're a parent and your kids are crying and stuff, and the know
crying too,
you know everybody around you is just so mad, so mad. You want to stop that crying as fast as possible, but I swear to God, if you give them back their electronic devices or they start throwing shit,
then you're a bad parent.
You're a terrible parent. you're a terrible parent. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, but we don't want to spend too long on this, but it's just like, let's say that this, like, I was the youngest, so I never saw my mom pregnant and went through that. But
no, yeah,
if that was you're the oldest of your family, you have younger siblings. If that was you and you were 5 years old, I would argue that if you spilled your popcorn all over into the aisle, your mom, because she's pregnant, would be even more fucking pissed at you. And
I would be pick up that all of that stuff. I'd be picking it all up.
Yeah, that's just what I was thinking.
Probably also end up eating it off the floor, thinking that it's clean because I was a stupid child. But
5-second rule.
Yeah.
And when you're a kid, that 5-second rule turns into like
30.
The 60-minute rule. Like,
give me some Play-Doh. I'll probably eat that too.
As long as it still looks intact and fine.
If it looks edible, it's going into my
It's
stomach.
fine.
It's fine.
But yeah, I think that's enough. Anthony
Bass,
I was gonna go way more in on him, but knowing that he wasn't on the plane, it changes. It does change things.
Yeah, I was not. I was a Play-Doh child. I did eat Play-Doh as a child, so.
Yeah, I mean, so did all of us.
It's like, rite of passage.
It's okay. Let's just say when they brand it "fun to play with, not to eat," that just makes you want to eat it even more.
You're gonna eat it.
That makes you want to eat it even more. If you tell me 100%. I can't eat Play-Doh, well, now I
it's going straight down my stomach.
I'm gonna eat it and show you it's fine. So yeah, But that's enough on the United Airlines. We still hate United, but I hope that flight attendant at United gets a week off and like a paid week-long vacation. They deserve it.
Yeah.
But without further ado, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Waterboy Podcast. Today it is episode 109. About to hit 110. Those are big numbers. I think we're only 91 episodes away from beginning our area code pre-show shenanigans. That'll be coming up in like essentially a year. But we're gonna
1-800 1-800
1-800
180. I'm a little bit off.
Well, I'm pretty sure area codes start at 200.
Yeah, I was a little bit off. I was thinking 1-800. I was like 1-800 hotline bling, and then I went 180. So I
fair enough. No, fair enough. I mean, it's a banger. We all love Drizzy, but speaking of some bangers, let's get to the NBA playoffs. Everett, I just want to say this is probably the most excited I've been to follow the NBA playoffs in a really long time. I'd say the 2019 NBA playoffs, I was so unbelievably invested in it, with that being KD's last year in Golden State, knowing that KD is gone after this year, the NBA is saved, and then Kawhi happened. But this playoff run is so unbelievably interesting to me. Not the East. The East is horrible. Who cares about these opening rounds? But Giannis getting injured might throw a wrench in the plan later down the road. I had Milwaukee as my NBA Finals prediction. Changing now if Giannis is really banged up.
But, yeah, if Giannis is hurt, that's not
they're not winning shit.
They're not winning shit. I don't think they're winning.
They'll be better in the fourth quarter down the stretch because Giannis can't score in clutch time. But for the first through third quarters, it's not going to help them. But my favorite series to follow this round, of course, Lakers Grizzlies. In the East, the only series I'm interested in. See, fraud alerts. Now that was directed towards the Grizzlies, not the Lakers.
That was directed
towards the Grizzlies. But Knicks Cavs is the only first round matchup I'm interested in. And it's pretty much just because when I was a freshman at USC, Evan Mobley was the star, and I just want to see how good he is in the NBA. Warriors Kings, Everett. The Kings stole game one off the Warriors at home. And we were joking. What a season for the Sacramento Kings. You get the 3 seed. Oh, how are you rewarded? Yeah, you get the fucking Golden State Warriors defending champs round 1. But they took game one. Malik Monk dropping 30? Oh my God, what the hell? And then obviously Clippers Suns.
Yeah, so just want to remind everybody, Malik Monk was on the Lakers.
Yeah, Malik Monk, former Laker. Malik Monk will always have a very special place in my heart. I also love that he's back with De'Aaron Fox, his old teammate at Kentucky. But I will never forget, it was a 2-3 Sweet 16 2-3 Sweet 16 matchup.
Sweet 16.
Between Kentucky with Swipa, Monk, and I'm pretty sure Bam versus Lonzo Ball UCLA. I had Kentucky winning that game. Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox made Lonzo look like a JV basketball player in that game. And I will always have a special place in my heart for that Kentucky team. So Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox, I am one of your biggest fanboys on earth that isn't a Kentucky fan. But Lakers Grizzlies, Everett, we gotta get to, you know, our babies, our Lakers. Obviously, we're gonna talk about the Kings. And I'm not talking about LeBron James, Anthony Davis. I'm talking about Rui Hachimura and Austin Reaves. But first, let's talk about...
It is their team.
Oh, yeah, it's their team.
It is their team.
They have a great supporting cast around them in LeBron James and Anthony Davis and D'Angelo Russell, but they're the stars of the show. It's their team. But Everett, first, we have to talk about LA injuries. What else can we talk about? When Anthony Davis mouthed, and I quote, "I can't feel my arm" at the end of the first half, Everett, my heart dropped for, I don't know, the 7th time since the Lakers won the ship.
Some panic set in. Some panic set in.
Everett, you love to call him Glass Man, and I'm gonna be honest, it is terrifying just watching him like try to grab an offensive rebound. It's terrifying watching him like drive to the basket because I'm so afraid that he's going to like twist his ankle or just land awkwardly because it just happens so frequently. I'm like deathly afraid watching Anthony Davis play. At any moment, he's like a ticking time bomb. Any moment, it's just done. Over. Season's done.
Just rip it.
So Anthony Davis needs to stay healthy. With no Steven Adams in this series against the Grizzlies, it's AD versus Triple J, and Triple J is going to be the defensive player of the year this year. Some early leaked reports of how the NBA award voting came through, and Triple J is winning DPOY. But Anthony Davis was putting in work on Triple J when he had to. With no Steven Adams, Triple J is kind of the center for the Grizzlies in this series, and he's kind of going to be on the court a lot. And him matching up with AD is going to be very important. So we need AD in there. Without AD, the rebounding down low gets a little shaky. But every
time you don't trust Tristan Thompson to come in.
I'll be honest. I kind of forgot Tristan was on the team.
He got
a sneaky solid amount of screen time in that playoff game. They were paying to him on the bench a solid amount. Like, it almost had me thinking, like, did Tristan Thompson sign some like deal with like TNT or ABC where like he needs to get screen time? I was very confused.
Required, legally bound.
Yeah, but I mean, we got Tristan on the team. Okay, we got guys with playoff experience. But time to talk about our Kings, Rui Hachimura and Austin Reaves. Everett, Rui Hachimura went 4 for 4 from 3 in the third quarter. And keep in mind, he shot under 30% from 3 in the regular season. So when it matters most, he turned it on. Down the stretch late in the fourth with 4 minutes left, Rui and Reaves combined for 14 points, going 6 for 6 shooting. In the play-in game, Everett, it was Dennis Schroeder who stepped up big, hitting that corner 3, and then AD ruined his moment. But it was Dennis Schroeder who had to pick up some scoring slack when D'Lo wasn't playing well, and LeBron and AD weren't quite getting it done down the stretch. But in game 1 against the Grizzlies, it was now Rui and Austin Reaves who stepped up as those role players. So everyone's been saying this, of course, Everett. Rob Pelinka, GM of the year, tip of the cap for what this man did at the trade deadline. Yeah. But holy shit, Everett, Lakers might actually fucking win the ship. They actually might.
There is a good chance right now. I'm not gonna lie. There is a very good chance that it could happen.
Now, obviously, I think the no Steven Adams really throws some shit into the mix and really plays in the Lakers' favor here. And after this, pretty sure we get the winner of the 4-5 seed. So we get the Clippers or Suns next round, which won't be an easy path.
The Clippers, especially, I like the Suns. Obviously, with KD is a problem, but the Clippers,
I just feel, I don't know why, but Russell is going to go nuclear against the Lakers.
But also the Lakers haven't beaten the Clippers in
0-11,
long time.
0-11, have not beaten them since the bubble. So like
it'd be great for them because it's literally just home court. Like, it's just LA.
And I'm also for those games, like, even if it's a Clippers home game, it's going to be 90-10 Lakers Clippers. It literally 90-10, if even the Clippers can get 10%. Crypto Arena now, unfortunately. I guess that name change might be coming up soon with the whole crypto thing going on.
It definitely is.
But that's going to be a full home series for the Lakers if they match up with the Clippers. And it's going to be very exciting to watch. I do think those Suns, I'm no basketball expert, but it seems to me that Kevin Durant should have shot the ball some more in that fourth quarter, Everett. Yeah, I'm no genius, but I think he should have shot some more.
Also, fun fact, by the way, KD has not won a playoff game.
He's 0-7 in his last 7 playoff games.
Since being hugged by Steve Nash.
Oh, my God. I actually think about this not every day. I was about to lie. I think about this at least once a year. What if Kevin Durant's foot wasn't on that 3-point line and they knocked off the Bucks in Game 7? What if? I really consider like how the rest of the NBA would have shaped out. Like, Kyrie would probably still be there. Fuck, like Harden might have even want to stay there. Like, if KD's foot, actually, if he had a size 15 shoe instead of size fucking 18 or whatever, the Nets would have been in the NBA Finals. The Nets. And we say football's a game of inches, Ever, but basketball is too. That shit's literally changed the trajectory of the NBA. Now Kevin Durant's on the Suns, Kyrie's on the Mavs, who tanked even though they could have gotten a playoff spot. What the hell? Like, remember how deep the Mavs went in the playoffs last year, Everett?
Yeah, I blame Kyrie. But anyways.
Yeah, that's enough of the NBA talk. I'm just so interested in the NBA this year. I don't think I've been this entertained by an NBA playoff run with all the storylines.
Let me get getting out of the NBA into the MLB before we hit football, because that's really the only reason people listen to this podcast. But
and our fantasy soccer Premier League fans, we know 90% of these listeners.
Don't worry, we haven't forgotten.
Oh my God, sorry. I had to just really quickly mention Everett. I know you don't care, but I care. I am now the number one team in my fantasy Premier League, like fantasy group, made by my friend's British dad, who has been running this league since like the 80s, before it was even online. And
before you were born.
Way before I was born. He literally had to use pen and paper to tally up all the points and stuff, like with his friend. Like, I entered this league and I'm now in first place, Everett. I am ranked 50,000th in the world out of over 7 million players. I am in the top 2,000 out of all United States Fantasy Soccer League players. And I don't know how many are playing it. I would guess it's probably like, I don't know, 200,000 people, but I'm in the top 2,000. Ranked 1,500 for that.
That's pretty good.
So I just had to quickly shout out myself. I'm 50,000th in the world fantasy Premier League.
Yeah, you're giving yourself a cookie. All right.
But sorry, go
on. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure you saw this. I guarantee you, if you listen to this podcast, you probably saw it as well. The Oakland A's catastrophe continues. It has been reported that there is a possum living in the away team's broadcasting booth, and for the most part, they've just been dealing with it. Like, they've been doing broadcast, possums just running back and forth behind them, just doing possum things.
Just some possum stuff, just
some possum stuff.
Just your typical possum
shit. The A's went on a road trip out east. I think they played in New York. They were gone for like a week. Come back, and the away team broadcasting group
They spotted it.
They spotted it, but they were removed from the broadcasting booth because it smelled so heinous from the possum shitting itself in the broadcasting booth. They literally could not work in there. They were like escorted out by security into a different booth.
Sounds to me like these the Oakland A's announcers, they experienced their own version of a stinky cloud. That's what it sounds like to me.
There is
a stinky cloud.
There are certain home field advantages and disadvantages over there. So
yeah, I think what was it? Was it the Jacksonville Jaguars where they have rats in the locker rooms?
Yeah, they have rats.
So I mean, we were joking that who knows, maybe it was the rats that turned the Jaguars around, and it might actually have been a good thing for them, and might have add some extra motivation. Like, fuck, there's rats in the locker room, boys. You got to get in, get out, get ready, get on the field, start practicing. Don't want to be with the rats. Now, is it confirmed that this is only in the visiting dugout?
It's not in the dugout. It is in the broadcasting booth.
Oh my God. So it literally has absolutely nothing at all to do with on-field performance. It is purely just a lack of care.
They just do not give a shit at all.
Yeah, I mean, also of any MLB stadium, from the Possums' perspective here, let's walk a mile in their shoes before we really shit talk them. The Oakland A's stadium is 100% the easiest to sneak into. You're not
100
in. The doors are wide open.
It's living its best life there. It's probably mooching the food. It's not going to get
gnawing on all those like 3-year-old expiration date hot dogs and shit, like just having the time of its life.
And there's no fans there either, so you get just like the best seats in your house.
They have so much room. You have so much space to do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
From the Possums' perspective, shit, kind of feel bad. He just got exposed for one of the smartest things a possum's ever done.
He might be
the history of the United States.
He might be the Oakland A's biggest super fan. He's such a big fan.
Yeah,
that
also might like be their only fan right now. I mean, Oakland A fans, they're literally boycotting attending the games.
The funny thing is they're about to do a reverse boycott and fill the whole stadium just to show that it's not the fans not caring that the team sucks.
I would actually love if they did that. I'd actually love
they literally are going to do it. Like, it's been reported that they're going to do it. They're organizing it right now.
It would honestly be beautiful to watch. It actually, okay, this would be even funnier. Instead of showing up and buying tickets to the game, what if they all just sat outside the stadium, like tailgating? Like, we're not going to
go in.
We're not going to pay you ticket money. We're going to show that we support the A's still, not you, but the team, if you get what I'm saying.
Okay, out of these three teams, the Oakland A's, the Los Angeles Angels, and the Washington Commanders, which one is the shittiest franchise in all sports?
Okay. If we're looking at it all time, everything taken into account and everything.
Currently, not all time. Currently,
I'm gonna get back to that, but all time, my answer, I would say it's the Angels. If we're just talking the last 20 years, though, it's hard to not say the Commanders. It's really hard to not say the Commanders. So like, I know what the A's are doing. I know. Everett, trust me, I know. But the fact that any Washington Commanders fan literally popped champagne and celebrated like they just won the Super Bowl when Dan Snyder announced he's like officially selling the team, that's enough for me. That's enough for me to be like, it's the Commanders.
They're celebrating like Pat Bev after last year's playing game.
No, literally, like straight up. Like, and the thing though is their franchise has been ran so horribly that I completely understand why they're popping champagne bottles. I get it. Like,
but do you think obviously I've stated before that I think the Commanders are I said the Angels were the shittiest team in all of sports.
I would say the Commanders just because they they're coming in a relatively strong market and they had historical success like pre-Snyder.
Yeah, they did.
At least Moneyball.
I'm not gonna lie. At least they had run. They had
nothing.
Moneyball. They had Moneyball.
At least that happened.
The Angels,
though, Everett.
At least you can go and watch the best players in baseball, but you're gonna know they're gonna lose. You at least get the privilege of seeing the best players in baseball.
And it's
however,
like
you have to deal with them.
Won a ring. They won a ring in 2002, which is like a more recent championship than any of the other teams we mentioned. But it's just when you have
two best players.
This is what's happening. The Angels are doing to Mike Trout and Ohtani what the Giants did to Barry Bonds, and they just did not build a supporting cast around them. Very ironically, the Giants post Barry Bonds went on to win like fucking 4 World Series. Well, we're not going to talk about that. It's the same thing. Okay, the Angels, what they're doing with Ohtani and Trout, and just fumbling the other free agent pickups they got. That Anthony Rendon contract, Everett. I'm going to make fun of that for maybe another 4 years.
Free agent pickups, draft.
So many fumbles. I'd have to go with them. And
it's it's amazing to me that they have not been able to draft good players either.
That's like really the worst part. Like that's like the icing on the cake. Mike Trout, what a pick. But who else have they picked since?
Shohei wasn't a pick. He came from overseas.
Yeah, he doesn't count. So that doesn't count.
Who's their three? Who's their three? Their third batter is actually pretty good.
I think it's Rendon.
No, it's not Rendon.
Don't tell me it's Brandon Drury. Don't tell me it's Brandon
Drury. It's not. Ward.
Oh, Taylor Ward. He is nice.
He is nice. Taylor Ward's pretty good.
He is nice. I'll eat some crow on that. Taylor Ward is nice. They got one other outfield position correct.
My favorite thing too, by the way, today today is Monday, April 17th. They had Shohei Ohtani pitching in torrential downpour.
Oh, yeah. So I was about to get to that. Speaking of the Angels. So today, Ohtani start in Fenway. And obviously, like I've like very fortunately, I've been to Fenway Park once, and I'm not lying ever when I say it was the coolest stadium environment I have ever been in my life. It's now you would think Fenway's a large stadium, but it's actually pretty small. I think it only seats like 30,000. And you know how Dodger Stadium, they go rows and rows up behind home plate? Fenway Park, they like literally just have that first section. They don't have multiple stories behind home plate. All the multiple stories are like with the green monster or outside the foul pole lines. But it felt like such a small stadium, like so fucking sick. Like you could just feel like the legacy of how many all-time greats played there. And so obviously it's a very important thing for any MLB pitcher to start at Fenway Park. It's a very big deal to make a start in Fenway Park. Only problem is God decided to say, fuck you, Shohei. And just some of the worst conditions I've ever seen in my life. And they have a video of Shohei. I'm pretty sure it was before the first inning. So let's keep in mind, they could have just delayed the start of this game, but they said, no, fuck it. Also at 1 a.m. Eastern start, 1 p.m. Eastern start time, 10 a.m. West Coast start time. That's just way too early to start a baseball game unless it's on Sunday.
I mean, at least the Japan could watch it though.
Yes, you know what? You know what? You're right. You're right. That is what they were trying to tap into. Fuck, you got me there. But Shohei, you can literally see him. It kind of looks like a puddle on the pitching mound. That was not dirt. That was mud. That pitching mound was mud. And you can see like Shohei, like literally before his first pitch, he was just getting set up on the mound and he like noticed how much dirt was stuck in his cleats and he had to go like, I actually think between batters had to like clean off his cleats with that. Fuck, I forget what it's called. You know what it's called. What are the little spiky things that clean your cleats? What are those called?
I forget. I know what you're talking about.
But that thing, he went in like, I had a feeling that you would know this because you are like currently working out with a football team. Well, you are on turf. That would never happen.
We've been on grass before.
Okay. For like when I was playing football, we played in the fucking baseball outfield. It was so funny. It was
okay. All right. Speaking of football though, let's
just say the Red Sox, Ohtani won't even consider the Red Sox now after those conditions, but
no. Okay. So this is a little precursor to the NFL. It's college football related and it's going to make us both feel
old,
like fossils.
That's how you told me.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're 21. Like we're not even old.
Yeah. You'll like this one too. Michigan State's spring game was.
Where could this go?
Michigan State's spring game was this other week. Among touchdown scorers for this game.
No idea where you're going with this.
Antonio Gates Jr. scored a touchdown in this game, in their spring game. Antonio Gates' child is in college.
All right, that even hits even more home to me. Growing up, Antonio Gates, like LT, those were my fucking guys. And now his son is not only playing Division I football, but will be playing against Ohio State every single year. I'm literally watching the offspring of one of my favorite Chargers of all time play against my fucking favorite team. I mean, like this, Southern Miss, Frank Gore Jr., right?
Frank Gore Jr.
Like this is fucking Asante Samuel Jr. on the Chargers. This is not okay. This is fucking Marvin Harrison Jr.
Antoine Winfield Jr.
But Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't as weird because we never like were really watching Marvin Harrison that deep. Like
Jerry Rice's kid on USC.
Brendan Rice. Yeah. It's so strange. And I mean, shit.
Randy Moss's Thaddeus Ross used to play for LSU.
Moss. Yeah,
Thad
LSU.
Moss.
It's just very strange now. One thing that I want to talk about, like Everett, I know your heart's in the NFL, but like for me, college football is my favorite sport to watch. Everett, it's so fucking weird now that I'm at least the same age or like older than a majority of the athletes in the sport that I like the most. It's very weird now. And while we're on the topic, I want to bring this up. There is nothing stranger to me than seeing like 30 and 40-year-old men like tweet at high school kids telling them to not, if you tell them to commit to your school or come to us, no problem. But the fact that there are 30 to 40-year-old men like tweeting high schoolers, fuck you if you don't want to play for our school, like that's the weirdest shit of all time. That's
so here's
weird.
my question. Are you on kind of the trend where after a certain age, it's weird to wear a jersey with somebody else's name on your back?
So I think I'm not, I don't think I'm prepared to truly answer that question yet because I personally don't own any jerseys of people younger than me, but I am on board with that. Yes. Like I am fully on board with that. Unless the guy's like a year or two younger than you. Like, for example, for me, like Caleb Williams is actually older than me, so I guess it's okay. But like in theory, Caleb Williams, the grade below me, I wouldn't have a problem getting his jersey when he goes to the Houston Texans.
If he's like around your age, but like let's say like you're like
10 years younger than me.
Let's say you're like
45.
So
let's
say you're 45 years old. In my mind, I think it's fine to wear a jersey with somebody else's name on it, but that player has to have been from like your era. Like in 20 years, right?
I will be wearing that Joey Bosa Chargers jersey.
I'd wear a Justin Jefferson jersey or a Stephon Diggs jersey, but I could not wear whatever player Peyton Manning Jr., Tom Brady Jr. I could not wear that jersey.
I have no problem. Like, of course, like shit. Like my dad, his favorite sport is his favorite team's Ohio State football. His favorite sport's college football. I have no problem with him like rather watching college than professional. No problem with that. But it gets very weird when you are a 30 or 40-year-old man on Twitter tweeting at high school 16-year-olds. You're tweeting at 16 and 17-year-olds and shitting on them.
Like death threats and shit.
Like that's bro, so weird to me. And I'm saying like I already like I don't like tweet at recruits unless it's like Go Bucks or something. And even then I maybe have done it 3 times in my life. Like if even. But I just feel weird now that now I'm looking at high school kids that are younger than me. Like that's so weird to me now. I can't even really fucking process it. So while we're on the topic of old ass washed up people hyping up high school recruits, let's talk about spring game overreactions. My favorite time of the year ever. Spring games, they don't fucking mean anything. Okay. The season doesn't start for 4 months. What happened in the spring game doesn't really matter. Okay. I was listening to a podcast with a former Ohio State coach, and you can even speak on this a little bit too. He was telling me that the real spring game, when it comes to depth chart movements, moving up and down, actually takes place a week before the spring game in that last closed Saturday scrimmage, at least at Ohio State. And that spring game itself, that's for the fans. This is a show. You're trying to get some fucking fan engagement going on, which USC did not do a great job at the Coliseum last weekend. But you're trying to
sorry, did you see the picture of the renovated Coliseum seats? There's this dude that tweeted out, and it's just a wall.
Yeah. Also, the Coliseum, it's like that shit was built for like the 1960 LA Olympics. Like they don't need to renovate it. They're not going to renovate it. Also, it literally hurts to sit down at the Coliseum, Everett. It hurts.
They're probably gonna use it for the Olympics. And
no, yeah, they are. Yeah, they're using it for 2028 Olympics. And I'm like shocked that they've actually decided like, fuck it, we'll actually renovate it for the Olympics. I kind of assume they'd be like, fuck the people, they'll come anyway.
I just want to say one thing though. NCAA missed opportunity not having USC play Tulane next year. Would have been a much better game than Ole Miss Tulane.
Now I wish that these out of conference games didn't get scheduled like decades in advance. So like Ohio State, they're playing Notre Dame. They played Notre Dame last year, playing Notre Dame next year. I think they scheduled that series in like 2014.
Yeah.
Like in 2013.
It's just weird to me because, like, I get it. Like, I know I saw Minnesota had scheduled a home and home with like Alabama for like 2032. And I'm just sitting here.
All those are also going to be canceled with the new super conferences. Like Ohio State just pulled out of some shit. Like,
yeah, but also like just thinking about it though, like you're assuming when you're scheduling these games with like big name teams, like they're going to be great, but like there's probably been numerous amounts of games where like the teams just are terrible.
100%
terrible.
Like,
and just get clapped.
I like literally, I can think of an example right now. Like Ohio State, I also think like part of them, they scheduled Alabama for like 26, 27. I literally think they only scheduled it that later in advance because they're assuming Nick Saban's not going to be there anymore by the time that happens. And it's like, also you obviously cannot predict like how successful teams are. Like for last season, for example, Notre Dame preseason, they were like ranked 6th, but we know how that ended up.
Yeah.
Ohio State has no idea how good Notre Dame's going to be when they scheduled that a decade ago. Can't actually fucking.
They probably had no idea that there's even going to be a new coach, like a brand new.
They assumed Brian Kelly was going to be there when they did that. Yeah, it's just I'm on board. I hate the SEC for their pussy out of conference schedule. Like playing the Citadel is not okay. But now with these super conferences and everything, last year Michigan got a fuck ton of shit for their cupcake ass out of conference schedule. But I'm actually going to fucking stick up for Michigan here, Everett. I'm so against the SEC and their light out of conference scheduling that if I was Michigan, I would have scheduled the same cupcake out of conference schedule because you don't get rewarded for out of conference anymore. There's no benefit to doing it. So at the end of the day, it's like there has to be some rules in place. You can't be playing fucking FCS schools in week 10 in November. They're playing Citadel leading up to the Auburn game. Like, what? What are you talking about? In the Big Ten, when it's November, you got Iowa on the road. You got Michigan State. Then you got, a bit of a cupcake with Northwestern, and then you got Michigan. Like, it's a fucking gauntlet other than the Northwestern part. But there aren't really breaks in the Big Ten, like unless you're playing like Northwestern and shit. You get what I'm saying? But
I get what you're putting
yes,
down, yeah.
You get what I mean. So fuck that out of conference bullshit scheduling. Also, if I was Ohio State, wipe them all off the board. Just play your conference schedule. Let's schedule Akron, Ohio Bobcats, and Miami of Ohio every year. That's what we should do. But on to the NFL.
So then your strength of schedule is kind of ass, but
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. Strength schedule doesn't matter anymore.
I guess.
Doesn't matter.
I guess I hope so, because that means Tulane's gonna make the playoffs next year. So
this is why college football is stupid. It matters. Well, this is what I'm saying. For the SEC, it doesn't matter. Everyone else, not really Ohio State, but everyone else it does, which is bullshit.
Yeah.
Because ESPN feeds this bullshit that, if you can just get through that SEC schedule. Oh,
give me the Citadel at the end of the season. I think we might be able to make something happen.
I would argue that Ohio State would have had a much better preparation going into Michigan if they got the Citadel the week before, like Alabama does before Auburn.
Instead of playing Maryland.
Yeah, but
okay, NFL. I just have a quick fun fact. Once again, is going to make you feel old. The last time that Todd Gurley played a game in the NFL, he was 26 years old. This was in 2020. Todd Gurley retired from the NFL at age 26 after 2 All-Pros, 3 Pro Bowls, Offensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, and 8,336 total career yards, 79 touchdowns. He retired 6 years.
79? Holy shit.
79 touchdowns. He was only
79?
He was only in the NFL for 6 seasons. He was 26 the last time he played in the NFL.
This is something I think about. With how short of a lifespan running backs have nowadays, I wonder, like, when we're 30 or 40, we're going to look back at our generation, be like Adrian Peterson, dominant, Derrick Henry, fucking dominant.
Frank
LT,
Gore.
dominant. Frank Gore, just bell cows. How are we going to look back at some of like the couple year fantasy monsters like Arian Foster, Todd Gurley,
David Johnson?
Like, are these guys just going to be trivia questions when they go?
Honestly, Le'Veon Bell as well.
Le'Veon Bell.
I honestly do think though that these kind of players that
how are we going to remember these guys?
So good. They were so good for a couple seasons, and even like Todd Gurley. If Todd Gurley didn't get arthritis,
Todd Gurley,
he probably would still be playing right now. He was so good. Like he had so much potential, but the issue is because they didn't play as much.
Yeah,
they're not going to be remembered. They're not going to make it to the Hall of Fame. Todd Gurley's stats, the stats I just read you that you were like, what the fuck?
79 touchdowns, Everett.
79 touchdowns in 6 seasons. 79 in 6 seasons with 8,400 yards. He's not going to be remembered. He's not going to be remembered.
No. Like I like David Johnson's actually the best example. Like, oh my God. Like there's going to be a trivia question. Which Arizona Cardinal led the league in rushing in 2014? I would argue a lot of people would not instantly remember David Johnson if asked that question.
No.
You'd be like,
was Adrian Peterson on the team that year?
Like 2014, was Chris Johnson playing then? No, couldn't have, like you.
It can't be James Conner.
You will blank on David Johnson, which is just crazy to me.
Le'Veon Bell too, by the way. Everybody thought Le'Veon Bell, especially when he like held out and went to the Jets, that he was going to be like the best player.
Disgusting.
So good. Now he's boxing.
Oh yeah, and losing, right?
And losing.
I don't.
Yeah, like
I don't quite follow up that. Deep
I think he boxed AP. I think he won.
Oh wait, I think he did beat AP. Shit. Sorry about that. We didn't need to bring that up. Sorry.
Fine.
I'm actually very curious. Like we've been talking a lot about, our perspective as some younger sports fans out there. There's very interested to see what goes on in 20, 30 years, how we remember these guys. But Everett, Jalen Hurts just signed an extension this morning for $255 million, 5-year deal, $179 million guaranteed.
You should be scared right now.
Oh,
you personally should be scared right now.
So, I mean, as a depressed Chargers fan, I'm just going to make this all about myself. I didn't actually care about Jalen Hurts. The only thing I can think about is now Herbert's contract extension coming up. So Jalen's getting 51 a year, Everett. How much is Herbie getting a year? Because as of this morning, Jalen Hurts is the highest annually paid player in the NFL. So
I think it's probably going to be about 55.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I think Herbert.
I think he's going to be 55, and I think Burrow's hitting 60.
Yeah, it's only going to keep going up, and like
I think Burrow gets 60.
Let's just say
Tua gets 43.
Yeah, I was about to push back on that, but if Danny Dimes can get 41, oh yeah, Tua's giving 43.
Tua gets 43.
Mm-hmm. He is. But let's just say right now, Everett, as a Chargers fan, I of course love Herbert. I want him to get paid, but now we're going to see the effects of having your quarterback take up a fuck ton of salary cap.
Also, and also not trading away or releasing 2 wide receivers that are either injury prone, really old, or both taking up a lot of cap space.
Yeah, I mean, this is loser talk that I'm about to say, but we just didn't get to see them all healthy on the field last year. Am I really confident that we are going to see them all healthy on the field together next year? No.
If you could package them both up right now for a first round pick at the end of the first round, would you do it?
I'm not sure.
You give up Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, you get a second first this year.
I'm not entirely sure. Like I'm not entirely sure just because it's right now the Chargers have 4 NFL caliber receivers on the roster.
What about this? You trade Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, and you get a 3rd round pick and DeAndre Hopkins.
I'm not even sure how, if we're really fixing the problem here.
You're getting cap off. I mean, yes, DeAndre Hopkins has a big contract.
He's fat.
You think he's fat?
Yeah, that contract's fat.
Oh, I thought you meant him literally as a human being is fat.
Yeah, I should have said I think it's fat, but yeah, no, I don't think that's cheap.
I honestly think that he's getting paid the same amount as Keenan Allen right now.
He could be. I got to look it up, but I'm fine. I'm fine running it back with Keenan and Mike. It's just their shelf life. We're at the very end of the shelf. Okay, we're at the very end.
You are at the end. You are at the end.
There is one thing left on the shelf, and they got one thing left in them. And let's see if that thing's expired or not. We're about to fucking find out. Hopefully it's not.
So hopefully it's not. So why don't we while we're talking about this, why don't we just get right into the draft? We're mixing it up now. There's 10 days until the draft starts. We have 17 picks more to go through. We're not going to get to all of them. So we're just going to start mixing and matching right now. We had a schedule. We had a kind of an order we were going in. That is now out the window. So talking about the Chargers, talking about the draft picks, why don't we talk about their draft at pick 21? Okay. So I wait to say anything until after I kind of get this out, and then I'm
going to mute myself right.
We'll see his facial reactions, though. This will be great. If you're watching it, if you're listening to this, you're going to want to watch it.
I had to cut back. Go to fucking YouTube, boys. All right.
Go to YouTube at WaterboyPod, youtube.com/@WaterboyPod. Okay. So for the Chargers at pick 21, there's a couple of different routes that they could go with this. I think it's either O-line, wide receiver, or defensive backs. Okay. I think if you go O-line, hopefully at this point, Darnell Wright's still available. He's going to be a tackle. Otherwise, you can get the Oklahoma tackle. Otherwise, on top of that, if Jordan Addison's available, JSN, 100%, that is your go-to draft. Otherwise, get Deonte Banks. I think he's going to be the best corner left available at that point. However, if Austin Eckler gets traded, no matter what, Bijan Robinson is this pick. Bijan Robinson is this pick. Austin Eckler gets traded, Bijan Robinson at pick 21.
Yeah, we'll go left to right. We'll start off with the tackle situation. Last year, I was bitching really fucking hard about the tackle situation. You know that quite well.
I do know that, yes.
Jamari Sawyer was just thrusted in there. We drafted him as a guard. He played tackle at Georgia, but he is a guard. We thrust him in there at left tackle. And early in the season, a lot of Chargers fans would be like, hey, we actually might just have found our tackle. Okay, he's not actually a tackle. It was good for what we had. But with Slater coming back, we love that. Trey Pipkins at right tackle. I know you have your opinions on him. I'm okay with it. I actually think the interior is really, really set up well. I really like the interior O-lineman. Now, Zion Johnson, me and him, we have our qualms, but Corey Linsley's my fucking guy. Corey Linsley gets everybody on the right page. When I saw Corey Linsley get hurt last year and we had to bring in a new center, I just saw how unorganized the blocking schemes were. And I love Corey on the line. And I think Sawyer moving him back to his natural position at guard is going to be much more beneficial for him. In terms of the receivers, so throw
that out the window.
Yeah, I don't think they're going tackle in that first round or any lineman position, like especially going after it last year. We went Slater a couple years before. For wide receiver though, like pre Eckler news, I was praying that JSN would be a Charger, right? And a lot of Chargers fans on Twitter would fucking come at me like, we don't need a slow guy who runs a 5.9 40 like JSN. We need Jalen Hyatt who runs a 3.6 40. Okay, I get it. We need to stretch the field, guys. No Jalen Guyton last year. And when you have Keenan and Mike Williams like struggling to run in the 4.7s, like, yes, I get it. We need speed. But in my opinion, last year, no Rashawn Slater and Jamari Sawyer at left tackle. We had no time to throw it deep. And like, I think getting that O tackle spot, getting that left tackle spot shirt up, that's what we got to do. I don't really think we need to go after a speed receiver if JSN somehow is at 21 though. And Eckler is requesting a trade. Give me JSN over Bijan. I don't think that will happen though. I don't think that is
even with the wide receivers that are available in the second round. You can get Jaden Reed, Josh Downs, Jalen Hyatt.
I think Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to be a game changer, and I think that his on-field potential will be even more elevated with other weapons on the field with him. If he's getting, I've never seen JSN be keyed on by a defense. I've never seen it, so I don't know what it looks like.
personally, if I'm the Chargers and Austin Eckler is not there, I am drafting Bijan at 21 because I think if you get Tank Dell, if you get Jalen Hyatt, if you get Jaden Reed, this wide receiver class is so deep. Anybody that you get in one of these first 3 rounds is going to be able to make an impact. And obviously, JSN is a better wide receiver than those guys. Obviously, talent-wise, production-wise, he's better. But I think that getting keyed on and what you need in the offense, having Bijan plus that makes way more of an impact than JSN plus, Roshan Johnson or
this is what I'm thinking of, Everett.
Well, except for Tajay. If you draft Tajay,
I was gonna say, if I had a choice of Bijan, and I doubt that Hyatt would be there. Let's say if I get Bijan and Tank, whatever the fuck, Bigsby, is that a name?
Tank Bigsby is the running back, yeah.
Or Tank Dell.
Tank Dell is the wide receiver. Yeah.
Let's say I can get Bijan and Tank Dell or JSN and Tajay. You know what my answer is.
Well, yeah, but I'm assuming here that Tajay is gone before you get the chance.
Now, I think Bijan would actually maybe revolutionize the Chargers offense. Like we'll be able to run some inside shit. Like we'll actually be able to do it. And I think it could really add a new element to our offense. I do think, though, that Herbert's the key here. And we have 4 NFL caliber wide receivers on the roster as of today, Everett.
Yes.
Let's ensure that we go get our next stud, because once again, Everett, we don't know the shelf life on Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. It's coming to a close here.
Okay. All right. Let me redo this for you right now.
No. Keep it.
I got it. I want the officialized version right here. Okay. If you're the Chargers at 21, you're going to either draft running back, wide receiver, or interior defensive line. If Deonte Banks is there, you take him. Otherwise, you take Jordan Addison or JSN. JSN's a lock right there. Bijan Robinson's there. If Austin Eckler is traded, you 100% take him. Otherwise, get Kalijah Kancey or Brian Breezy. There you go. All right. Now we're going to skip. We're going to 23. We're going to the Vikings. All right. There's a lot of different things.
There is no 20. Oh, there's no 20.
There's a lot of different things that the Vikings could do here at 23. I think that if Jordan Addison or JSN is there, you automatically take them. You make them their paired wide receiver with Justin Jefferson. Obviously, KJ Osborne there is too. It's going to be a great wide receiving room. If you can't get either of them, you either get Kalijah Kancey or Brian Breezy or Miles Murphy. One of those 3, shore up that defensive line. That's going to help. If on top of that, Joey Porter Jr. or Deonte Banks are there, you can take them. Or Brian Branch. I think Brian Branch is probably going to be the selection at that point, but I think any of those players are going to make a significant impact for the team.
Kind of with that, I saw a little thing floating around. This isn't draft related, but would you be on board the Vikings giving up a first for Budda Baker?
No. Budda Baker's not the asking price for Budda Baker right now is a second or a third. If the Vikings gave up a first for that, is stupid.
Now a third for Budda though.
If for a third, I might give up, but they don't have a 3rd round pick. Oh. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about it. Also keep in mind, Devin White is available for trade. Out of any of those players, I would much rather have Devin White at linebacker and trade for him and give up give up stuff for him and have him paired with Brian Asamoah than go and get Budda Baker. Okay, and finally, we're just going to run the Bucks. We'll run the Bucks at 19. I'm not going to lie. I think Will Levis is going to fall all the way down here. If I'm the Bucks and Will Levis is available at 19, I'm going to draft him. Otherwise, let's get a tight end. Let's either get Dalton Kincaid or Michael Mayer.
Yeah, Bucks. It must be just so weird being a Bucks fan right now.
Yeah, I think Will Levis is going to be available there. I honestly do think he is.
Shit, who knows? Maybe Stroud's available there.
Stroud might fall out of the top 10. Like that is a possibility I've seen flown around. Right now, I still have him going in the top 10. I think the Raiders is kind of his limit. Otherwise, he's going to go to the Titans. So I think 11 is the max point for CJ Stroud. Speaking of CJ Stroud, let's just get your please draft list for him, and we'll wrap with that.
I have not finalized this yet. So,
oh, it's not finalized. All right, next episode.
Yes.
but I think that his limit is going to be pick 11 to the Titans. And with that, Grant needs to go to class.
Yeah, stay in school, kids.
Stay in school.
Stay in school, kids, and clean up after yourself on United Plans. All right, those are the two takeaways of the day.
Yeah. Just maybe not eat it off the floor. I know the 60-minute rule applies for kids, but even if it might help your immune system, it's probably not the greatest idea. With that, thank you guys so much for watching. Rate us 5 stars. You can find us on Spotify, TikTok, and on YouTube, and on Instagram at WaterboyPod. Make sure to subscribe, like, favorite, follow, share, download, everything. You can find me and Grant's handles right down here below. And with that, we'll see you in the next episode. Waterboy's out.